Hi, I'm Lisa Leiter. In Chicago Business Today, Super Bowl ads. While we don't know yet who will be playing in Dallas for Super Bowl 45, we do know the lineup for the commercials airing between the action. The 30-second spots that net as much as $3 million a pop have been sold out since October. Pizza Hut and Best Buy are making their big game debuts. And Pepsi asked amateur ad men to make spots for Doritos and Pepsi Max. Viewers will vote on which ones are best.
A car that can go up to 40 miles before...
General Motors returns with ads after a 2-year break. Then, of course, there's this week's news that Chicago's own Groupon is buying some old-fashioned advertising before the game. I sat down with Loyola Advertising and Public Relations Program Director Herb Ritchell to talk more about this year's contenders off the field. Let's start our conversation with Groupon. Groupon doing traditional media and wanting to purchase a Super Bowl ad. They couldn't get one for the actual game because, of course, we know those are sold out well ahead of time. So they're doing a pre-game ad. What do you make of their strategy here?
It's an interesting company. I think there's almost, I wouldn't say universal awareness, but a lot of people really know about the company. But I think if you want to reach a big group of people, there's no better way to do it than the Super Bowl. Had they been able to get their act together a little bit quicker, I think they were sold out on Super Bowl ads about October or something. They might have been able to get into the game itself, but they'll get a lot of hype, they'll get a lot of attention about being in the pregame.
You know, some people joked around and said this reminds them of Super Bowls past during the .com bubble and companies like PetSmart. What do you think of those comments?
Well, GoDaddy's still around. In fact, they've got a bowl game, the GoDaddy something or other bowl. So not everybody made it, not everybody had the right business model, but certainly when you want to reach a broad audience, what better can you do than the Super Bowl?
Sure, and there's of course some controversy, as there always is when we talk about Super Bowl ads. Pepsi, with its Crash the Super Bowl ad contest, they've already had to pull this ad that is offending Catholics. Did they get more buzz from the fact they had to pull it than if it had aired?
Well, we'll never know what could have happened had it aired, but certainly the buzz organizations get before the Super Bowl ads. It's amazing, and that's how Pepsi really scored big last year. So much is written about their not being there, and then of course they came out with a campaign that talked about giving back, and we've heard many things since then. But I think what has happened is Pepsi's recognized we're better off being part of it. Many of their other divisions, Doritos and others, have continued to be there, and it just makes sense.
Now you say last year, 2 years ago, right? Because Pepsi sat out the Super Bowl
last year. Yes.
Right, and was that a good strategy? I mean, they're back, so clearly it didn't work for them.
Well, I think it's smart to go back into it. At the time it was a smart strategy. They saved the money and indeed got a lot of buzz around it. In fact, if you talk about who had the greatest recognition among Super Bowl advertisers, it turned out to be Pepsi because they weren't there. But again, it's a matter of getting in front of people and making your story known. And with that, it makes sense to get back and reach that broad audience for the Super Bowl.
What about letting the public decide which ads air? I mean, you're a former agency guy. I mean,
we used to hate that. We would never want to go there. But today, with the world the way it is, and involvement of the consumer and voting on everything, it's probably a smart strategy. The agency creative team is going to have to watch this perhaps with some pain to find out what's going to happen, but indeed involvement devices, ways to get the public to tune in, vote, are just winners these days.
So General Motors will be back this year after 3 years of not being a part of the Super Bowl. They've said that they're going to spend some time advertising the Volt. Is that a good strategy, or should they be focusing solely on Chevy?
You want to work on what's new. We know what Chevrolet is. We know what General Motors has been through. It's time to see what they've got that's new and innovative. And indeed, the Volt is probably the most exciting car within that company right now. And I think a lot of people want to know a lot more about it.
And do all of these ads that appear during the game have to have an online component to them as well? I mean, we can all watch them on YouTube or perhaps on the company's website, but do they have to have something interactive too? Is that just, you know, a must these days?
I think interactive helps. So I think it strengthens the message, especially if there's an immediate need or immediate news that people can take advantage of.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Great.
And that's this edition of Chicago Business Today. For more on this story, be sure to check out chicagobusiness.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.